Welcome to Monkey Love Travel. My name is Jason.
I'm Becca.
In today's video, we are going to talk about when you have just booked your first family cruise, your solo cruise, or just cruising with your partner. These are things everyone is going to need to do, whether you've booked with a travel agent or booked directly. Hopefully, you've assisted the help of a nice travel agent. If not, let us know. Okay, so I want you to stick around to the end of this video. I have a nice little story that I think you all will get a nice little chuckle at. So let's go ahead and swing into it. So these are not going to be in any particular order. They're going to be, done your priority and your preference on when you choose to do them. Some of these tips or some of these things that you're going to have to do are going to be required at certain times before your cruise. But other than that, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to prioritize. So the first one's going to be 90 days before your cruise is set to sail. You're going to need to complete that final payment. And that final payment is going to need to be done if you've booked solo directly with, sorry, if you've booked on your own, you're going to need to do it directly with Royal Caribbean. If you've used a travel agent, make sure you're going through them to finish up your final payment. Okay? So the next thing you're going to need to do is secure your travel documents. And what I mean by that is if you're going to use a passport, which we highly recommend, when it comes to using a passport, it's just a lot easier to get in and out of security, through customs. And if you have, by any unforeseen circumstances, have any issues when you're in the foreign country for your port of call, and something, God forbid, happens, it's going to be a lot easier to prove who you are with a passport, because they're not going to accept your photo ID, your government issued photo ID, or your official birth certificate. Now, those are other things that you can travel with if you're cruising on a closed loop. You can use your birth certificate and your state-issued driver's license.
Can you explain what a closed loop is?
Sure. Closed loop is, so let's say you're cruising out of Miami and you are going to the Bahamas or the ABC Islands, okay? And then once all those are done, you are coming back to Miami. That's a closed loop. You're starting and finishing in the same port of call. Now, it's different if your port of call is in a foreign country. Then you're going to have your passport. There's no way around that one. Now, this is a pro tip here. So when you're using your passport, make sure that it does not expire within 6 months of your cruise date. If it does, you're going to want to renew that before your cruise happens. And from what I understand, you can now do that online a lot easier than you could in the past.
And Jason, you mentioned closed loops, and do you need a passport for every cruise?
You do not. You can, like we mentioned before, you can use an official certified copy of your birth certificate and in conjunction with your state-issued driver's license.
And what cruises could you do that on?
Anything leaving out of the U.S. that is in a closed loop. And we referred to a closed loop as being anything that starts at the same port and finishes at the same
Within
port.
the U.S.
Within the U.S. So your next item after, not necessarily after you get your travel documents, but the next step is going to be planning your actual travel to get to your cruise destiny or cruise. Get to your cruise port, all right? Cruise terminal.
Where you're leaving from.
Where you're leaving from. Thank you. Don't complicate it, Jason. Whether it's going to be something you're driving to or if you need to fly to it, you're going to want to make sure if you do fly to it, you're flying in at least the day before. That way you don't run as high of a chance of missing your cruise if your flight is delayed.
Absolutely, because the cruise ships do not wait for you.
They will not.
It doesn't matter if half of the ship is on that plane that got delayed. Nobody's getting on the ship. It'll be a half empty ship. They're not going to wait.
And it has happened.
Yeah.
One of the other things you want to make sure that you're also doing is planning the transportation to and from the cruise terminal if you're staying at a hotel locally. Figure out what your parking situation is. Figure out if you're taking a shuttle to and from. Know how to pay for parking if you're driving in. Know where the cruise terminal is and the parking for that terminal is, because a lot of other cruise ships leave out of the same terminals or the same port, but different terminals. I apologize. Now, when you return from your cruise, you're also going to want to make sure you should give yourself ample time to actually make to your flight. Most ships are docked by 8 a.m., but for some reason, if it runs later and you've scheduled your 9 a.m. flight, I don't know if you're going to make that. So you want to make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time.
And I believe most airports still suggest that 2-hour window of getting there ahead of time for security reasons and to make sure that you have plenty of time to process through the airport and make it to your gate and get onto the plane on time. So you really don't want to leave short windows of time, especially if you're going in and out of port areas that you're not familiar with.
Right.
That to me is the most benefit of having a travel agent. For me, that's why I would lean on a travel agent, is for that knowledge of
Absolutely
being able to kind of maneuver around cities where you may be boarding the ship, embarking on the ship.
Boarding, embarking, same right. thing, really. Well, now after you've done that, one of the key things that you may want to do right around the same time as you just booked your cruise, so is to make sure you're securing any travel insurance. Some travel insurance require there will be a window that, let's say it's 30 days, after you have put your deposit down on the cruise, you need to have your insurance, taken care of as well. Now, do you have to have insurance? No, you do not. Do we recommend insurance? Absolutely. We get it for every single cruise. Matter of fact, we purchase a yearly plan because we get on a couple cruises a year. So it's just cheaper for us to take care of that. We also have a benefit for one of our credit cards also offers some travel protection too. So it helps. Maybe you're lucky enough to have, travel protection from one of your credit cards as well. Just find out what their rules are and know what they are and who to contact beforehand.
What's the best way, if you've never done this, to find out about travel insurance, to know who the best insurer is to go with? Is that a travel agent question? Is that a...
Well, a travel agent can absolutely help you get quotes, multiple quotes for whatever insurance that's going to fit your needs. But none of us are policy experts. We can't give you any legal advice on that kind of thing. We can give you the name and number on who to contact to talk about those specifics. And those are things you absolutely should know prior to purchasing it. So, excellent question.
And that's not something you have to worry about. Do travel agents get kickbacks or anything, or commissions from travel insurance?
It depends on the insurance policy. Some companies do offer a commission.
Okay.
But you certainly do not have to do that.
Okay.
You can certainly go through those same avenues on your own. But again, read the fine print, go through the policy, know what you're protected for. For us, the biggest thing is going to be that emergency assistance. If for some reason someone gets hurt on the cruise, it's literally going to be multiple thousands of dollars to get you someplace safe. If you're going to have to be flown off the ship or flown from a port someplace, that travel insurance is going to protect your wallet.
There is a very recent example, very good example of that happening. I should know the ship off the top of my head. I'm probably sure you do. But recently with Hurricane Milton, as it was approaching. I know there was at least one Royal Caribbean ship, I believe, that was pretty much kept off port from Port Canaveral, or I'm not sure if I have the right port, that couldn't come into port because of the hurricane coming in.
I believe it was Tampa.
No, I'm pretty sure it was on the other side.
Okay.
And they were waiting, but there was health emergencies, as happened, and they were having to helicopter individual people off for their various health emergencies because they could not come into port.
Was this the are you talking about the one with the young boy with appendicitis that had to be flown off, or is that in addition to that?
Possibly, one? But there was multiple people.
Okay.
And I wish I could remember. We were literally watching it live time because we were watching for personal reasons. We have family in Tampa, so we were watching all kinds of coverage about the hurricane in particular. But we were also watching coverage of people who were on that cruise ship off of, waiting, hoping that eventually it was going to be able to be brought into port, and talking about the multiple helicopters landing and taking off to get people with health and medical needs in the meanwhile where they needed to go. And none of that is something that's just covered by your own health insurance or by everyone's good nature. Those are all things that someone eventually pays for. And I can remember us commenting, oh my goodness, I hope all of those people had travel insurance, because if they didn't, I don't know how they were going to be able to pay for any of it.
And that leads into another great reason why you need to make sure that you are finding out, the details of the policy information. Because what I've found out recently, and this is from following the news with Hurricane Milton, your travel insurance, if you've secured it in hurricane season and you're traveling during an actual hurricane, that insurance, again, check your policy. This isn't advice here. It's just a tip to look for this information. If you've secured that travel insurance after it became a named storm, that won't be covered. So, yeah, if for some reason whatever happens, and you've secured your travel insurance after that it was named a storm. So after they decided to give Milton its name, if you secured
once it becomes an official hurricane, which I would assume is why you were getting travel insurance, to cover hurricanes?
That's my point.
Or is it before it becomes?
You want to make sure that you're securing that travel insurance before it becomes
I see what you're saying.
A named storm. So before it actually becomes a hurricane.
Well, that's not as scary as it sounds, because for the most part, hurricanes are named before they come on shore. So chances are, if you've secured travel insurance before you embark on your cruise, you should be covered. Correct?
One would think. That's why I keep saying make sure you're reading your policy.
Even with those policies.
Even with those policies. If it's unclear, make sure you're calling whoever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or get someone who has the patience. I have a best friend who has that kind of patience, and you do as well, to actually read all the fine print and make sure that they are aware of all of those little details.
For the extra couple $100 that it cost you, I like to say if you can afford to cruise, you can afford a couple $100 to protect that cruise.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just my opinion. I want that bit of security. All right, so hopefully we haven't scared you, but again, we're here just to educate and inform. We want you to have the best travel cruise that you can, and we believe having insurance does help with that. All right, so once all these things are done, and your cruise is actually getting closer, you're now 45 days out, from your sailing. This is when you can complete your online check-in. And when I say online check-in, this is where you're entering all your information that lines up with your travel documents. You want to make sure it matches, okay? You're attaching your photo, whether it be from you're just using your phone and snapping a picture, or you're using the one from your passport. All that information's entered in, and that's pretty much it. You're just making sure all that's done 45 days ahead of time. All right. So let's move even closer to your cruise. You're now within 30 days of your sailing. This is when you're able to print your set sail pass and your luggage tags. Now, you're going to need to do that by logging into the Royal Caribbean website. Make sure you're entering your booking information. If you use a travel agent, they should contact you and let you know, hey, it's time for you to go ahead and check in. Here's where you can go to do that. And you're going to go in, print out your set sail pass again, and your luggage tags. When I refer to a set sail pass, that's just basically the document you're going to need to get on the ship. You're going to go through security. You're going to present that at check-in. And once all that information's done, they've verified everything matches up, they're going to say, feel free to start walking the gangway up to your actual cruise. All right. So I always print a copy. You can also use your set sail pass on your app. I like to have a physical backup just in case something goes wrong. My phone dies, whatever. I want that physical copy. Now, 30 days are up. You've completed all these steps. Hopefully everything else lines up. Cruise is even closer. Now it's the day before, 24 hours before. And this is where you get to complete your health questionnaire. They want to know, not super details, but they want to know, are you feeling sick? Have you had any recent problems? They want to just know these things prior to getting on board. You'll also be able to check out any safety videos they may have that lead up to your muster drill.
You want to tell them what a muster drill is, presuming that people are first-time cruisers?
Sure. Now, muster drill is once you are on the ship, you've gone through everything that you need to go to. First thing you want to do once you get on the ship is go complete your muster drill. And you're basically meeting up with someone who's going to explain how to use your life vest, where they're located, and where you need to report if something should happen.
Emergency procedures. Same
exactly.
thing you would do anytime you do anything new.
It literally only took us 5 minutes. Getting through security from the time we got to the cruise terminal to everything else only took us like 9 minutes total. Royal Caribbean does a great job.
And they do. Some of it's also because you are very good about doing all of these things well in advance and having all of your I's dotted and
minding the P's and Q's.
P's and Q's, T's crossed, I's dotted, whatever the expression is. So
that's everything. That is, quick, down, dirty, everything you're going to need to do, everybody will need to do in order to enjoy your cruise and get on the ship without any issues. Hopefully, right? If you have any questions about these things, feel free to contact us. We are always more than help. If you haven't booked with us, that's fine. If you want to, even better. If you've booked with someone else, we are absolutely more than happy to just answer questions for you. You're not going to get any issues from us.
And I'm an organizational nut, so I, for fun, like to create little spreadsheets and little to-do task lists and so on and so forth. I also wanted, just in case anybody's like me and has heard all these different dates and deadlines thrown at them at different times, and I don't want anybody rewinding to go back and remind themselves of all the different dates. So I was just going to quickly mention, we had mentioned 90 days before sailing, and that's for completing your final payment, whether it's to a travel agent or to Royal Caribbean or whoever you're booking with. There was, I think, 45 days was the next one we mentioned, and that was when you should print your set sail pass and your luggage tag.
No, that's 30 days.
I got it wrong.
Yeah, the print set sail pass and luggage tag is 30 days.
Online check-in.
Yeah, online check-in is 45 days.
Okay.
And I recommend you do that as early as possible. As soon as it's available, do it. I mean, ours was available at midnight. I was up at midnight making sure to book ours because I wanted a specific time that suited us best. And
that's online check-in.
Online check-in.
45 days. 45 days. You would, and probably best practice would be jump on and do it 45 days before.
Correct.
And I feel like a good travel agent would send you like a reminder or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Remind you. 30 days before was printing your set sail pass and your luggage tags, and 24 hours before was completing your health questionnaire.
Perfect.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So now that we've gone through everything, I told you I had a fun little story to share with you. I like to create T-shirts. Yeah, she doesn't know about this story. She will once I bring it up. But I like to create T-shirts for our cruises. He likes to create T-shirts. I like to create T-shirts in general. But this one I thought was going to be kind of funny. And I'll show it to you in a second. And you quickly pointed out something once I got the shirts. Because I didn't tell her I made these shirts. I said, here, look what I got us for our cruise. So I'm going to quickly show this to you. So you can see, okay, we're going on Utopia the Season on February.
It may have more effect. Let me just sit here.
Yeah, okay.
And just you can explain the T-shirt as I'm doing this.
So I wasn't really thinking all that clearly when I was trying to be creative about the QR codes. Each QR code takes you to a different location. One takes you to our website, and one takes you to this channel that you're watching us on now. Now, they always say take a picture, it'll last longer, okay? I don't really need to give anybody excuses to come up and start taking pictures of my wife's bust, okay? So
apparently you did think you needed excuses.
It was not on purpose. It really didn't. So
I suggested this should have been on the back of the T-shirt. In hindsight, no pun intended.
So, needless to say, I'm gonna have to get another shirt made. And
I'm telling you, we could just flip it so this is on the back, so it's at least not on the front.
I could just see it now. I mean, everybody starts coming up, starts taking pictures. Oh, we're scanning your QR code.
Yeah. All new nicknames.
Yeah, all new nicknames.
In live time here.
When she pointed it out, I was like, oh man, I did not think about that. So
because you were thinking about your front.
I was thinking about my front. I was being selfish.
Never mind.
Of course, if I'm taking the picture, it's fine. It's fine. But no, I'm not giving anybody else a reason to take a picture of my wife's bust.
Plus, I don't think the QR code is going to read super well. They should be on flat surfaces. So maybe for some people, okay, I walked into that. Sorry. That was not a good thing to start. Never mind.
So all I'm saying is have some fun getting ready for your cruise. Do something that's going to help personalize it for you. It's going to help, secure that memory. Whether when you get back, maybe you can hang them on your wall or something like that, or whatever. Just hang them in your closet or something. That way you can reference them. Yes, we're talking about T-shirts.
I got lost.
But that's all we got for today.
Yay.
I want to thank everybody for coming and watching. We appreciate you. The channel's already growing, and I know I'm having a blast doing this, and I look forward to sitting here having our conversations each and every time. We try to be as informal as possible. We can't be anybody but us. Nope. And we don't want to fool anybody. No. That I stumble over my words. I say the wrong things.
I say more than I should and get in trouble for it all the time.
But if you see us on a cruise, and please come say hi. We would love to meet you guys. We're just all about spreading good information. Love, monkey love. So until next time.
And we like to embarrass our children.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you.